Today's episode is a bit different. For starters, I have my nephew DJ joining me as a co-host. He's a great kid. He's very positive, intelligent, and has overall good energy. He's only 21, but he already has a wealth of knowledge in real estate, forex, stock market, crypto, you name it. The kid know how to get to the bag. But I always keep pure souls like him around me. We partied not too long ago for his 21st birthday, and he took a journey with me. We blasted off on shrooms. And listen, I really appreciate him for trusting me to take that journey with me. And he had a good time, just like I did. Now, our second guest is Carla Maria. She's an intuitive healer and a psychic. I used to look at people who call themselves as psychics as con men or con women. I just didn't believe it. However, I have a habit of challenging myself to question, why do I hold certain positions on things that I have no knowledge of? Now, that's not the behavior of a wise person, so I began reserving my judgment. This is Carla's second time on this podcast. When I first met her, I questioned her through conversations for weeks. What I was trying to do was basically gauge how pure she was or how honest she was as a person. And listen, in my assessment, she's a very honest person with an extremely good heart. So if she says she's a psychic, there must be something to it. My dealings with her has been super positive, overwhelmingly positive, and enlightenment. The people that I've met through her are awesome people as well. She's helped me through so much in a short period of time. And she's also helped thousands of people all over the world, literally. I hope that she could do the same for some of y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the show. Civilize the mind, make savage the body. This is the Civil Mind, Savage Body podcast, and I'm your host, Rashid King. We will explore and discuss ways to expand consciousness, increase your health, reverse aging, and refine our lifestyles to live a life in an abundance. Now, we're currently aware of 3 dimensions, but as technology and human intellect advances, consciously tapping into the 4th dimension is inevitable. 3 dimensions of space, 1 dimension of time. That extra dimension is a degree of freedom. However, can we travel back in time? I don't think so. But is that accurate? Or are we looking at this the wrong way? Let's say you wanted to find me, right? You have to know my exact location, and you have to know when I'm there. Is time just a construct, or is it as natural as the air that we breathe? One thing that I'm certain of is I don't know. I don't believe anything. I either know or I don't know. But hopefully together, we'll all find out. Enjoy the show. Okay, so you tune my chakras. Mm-hmm. Would you see anything, feel anything exceptional?
Well, for you, I've tuned your chakras before, so I know what to expect. Every time I go into your chakras, immediately, especially once I get to specifically your higher level chakras, where we're talking about where the intuitive gifts come from, I always see your Egypt past lives, right? So that's immediately kind of where it goes every single time. On the lower chakras, for you, you have a very kind of strong, grounded energy. You're very much here in the physical plane. So there's really nothing out of the ordinary that shows up there for you every time. Generally, I'll see.
What's all considered the lower chakras?
Those would be, say, your root chakra, your sacral chakra, right? Those are kind of the ones that have to deal with whether that's stability, home, finance, etc., that kind of stuff, our personal power in the sense of our ability to create and manifest in this physical reality, right? So for you, often when I'm there, I'll just kind of see things that you've got working on, or stuff that you are starting to have in development, right? Once we kind of get to your solar plexus chakra, that's your creativity center. That's always very strong for you. I will just again see the same types of things there, kind of whatever ideas you're playing with or maybe are working on already, right? Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So you met my nephew DJ, right?
Yes.
I wanted DJ. He gonna come help me out here and there as a co-host. I thought it'd be dope to have him on while you were on, because you got just the dopest energy, and he got the dopest energy. I like to bring incredible energies together. You'll be meeting Bahar. And she's got the dope energy too.
Yeah,
so,
I'm excited.
It's about I'm a connector.
I know.
Of worlds. You know what I'm saying? Of worlds. It's interesting. I say that I was having a conversation with my son the other night, And I kept telling him, like, I'm the fabric. What are you talking about, Dad? I said, I'm the fabric. All right, so in life, it's like, it's all about duality. I was trying to explain to him, like, what that meant when we talk about opposing, I don't like to call it opposing forces, but, you know, the opposites, right? That's balance and is necessary for stability in this universe,
right,
in our lives and everything, right? And I was explaining to him about, you know, people and people's power and their energy. And for whatever reason, I've always had a lot of power or energy, right? So, you know, I could be impactful in certain spaces amongst people. You know, if my energy's off, or it don't even have to be off, if I'm engaging in hurtful behavior or negative, demonic, we was talking about this, demon energy is bad. You know what I mean? Some people can try to be a demon. It's like,
Yeah.
a little scratch. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But for me, it's not like that, right? However, I was explaining to him that demon energy that I had that much angelic and God energy because I have to. You know what I'm saying? I said, son, you see like the amount of people that, you know, we're able to touch in a positive way. That's very great. That's good, right? You can't have that without this. It's impossible. And I was explaining to him, I said, I'm that fabric in between the two because they're necessary, like two wings on a butterfly. It's, you can't have one without the other. As above, so below. Now, here's the thing. Consciously, I'm embedded in an energy of benevolence, of trying to be nice and good to people, you know? So I stay away from the demon energy unless it's necessary, out of protection, you know, things like that, doing the right thing with it.
Unless you need to like use it.
It has to be used sometimes, you know, but never for unfair gains. You know what I'm saying? Never for just hurting somebody because they hurt my feelings or anything like that. None of that stuff. Back in the day, I was very active. I have a lot of practice with these things. But, you know, I also, me having practice with these things, it hurt me to see somebody else hurt at my hands or my words. So I don't want to hurt myself. So I do not engage in those kind of activities with that kind of energy on me, right? So we had a conversation. He kept saying, what does that mean? Whenever I would say, I'm a demon. What does that mean? Why are you saying that? Stop talking, son, hear me out. So I was explaining, I do have that capacity because, and being in my position, being a father, being the patriarch of my family, I have to be the biggest, baddest demon. Because if I can't be the biggest, baddest demon, these other demons going to victimize us.
Right. So
I got to be worse than them if necessary. You know, don't ever want to be, but you know, that's necessary. And I always say that for a man, we have to be tapped into that.
Yeah.
And it's not physical. Physical, you got to have that too, but it's mental. It's being able to, a dangerous man is a man that can articulate his thoughts. You know what I mean? That can communicate properly and well. That's dangerous and that's scary to someone who has bad energy trying to do wrong to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So your ability to communicate properly will keep a lot of fucked up energy away from you. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and you develop that by not having that good, being able to communicate properly. That was me earlier in my life, getting tested. You know what I'm saying? And then you become, I fortified my resources, my intellectual, emotional, and physical resources to where now I'm the most formidable. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I got beat up a lot, figuratively speaking and spiritually speaking, when I was younger.
So do you think you were retested for you to learn how to control those powers, those dangerous powers? Because you said, like, back in the day, you used your dangerous powers like for a different reason, right? But those retests were basically for you to learn how to use them in a good way and when to use them, when not to use them.
So let me clarify, and I got to be honest. Like, you know, I used to engage in illegal activities to make money, but it was never, I never stole, right?
Right.
I sold a product that was not legal to sell, that's now legal to sell, which is ironic. You know what I mean? So en masse, like wholesaled it to the East Coast. So I was just down to break rules at all times. I would calculate the risk. I could deal with that. Nah, it wasn't I could deal with that. I won't get caught.
Right.
And if I did, I could deal with that. That was how I was moving. And when you're doing things that are outside of the scope of the law or outside of the norm of society, you gotta deal with everything else that's on that side. So
Yes.
my big bro, Mr. Man, he always said, you playing dirt, you get dirty. So don't be surprised if you get jacked, somebody try to do this, do that, you get arrested. Don't be surprised. So you got to be ready for that too, which is negative. Why put yourself through that kind of stress? It was very stressful. However, I was able to take those experiences, quantify it in a positive and a constructive way, like school, like lessons, and apply them as lessons to be a better human being, and also to be able to identify when I'm around that kind of energy. You know what I mean? Like when I lived in Miami, everybody was a criminal. I was like, what do you do? Ambiguous. Like, yeah, you're a criminal. Get away from you. You know what I mean? So, but you learn through like your life experiences, what to kind of stay away from and things of that nature. Right. But yeah, so those tests, look, be aware of the tests, because you'll be faced with something, and it could be something like somebody pissed you off, y'all having an argument, and you want to say something that cuts them, and you thinking about it.
Yep.
And then you say it, you just fail the test. You know it immediately. Like, damn, I shouldn't have said that. Because it's the first thing that comes to your tongue.
Yeah.
Don't say it.
Yeah.
I told you that earlier. Just be nice. Like, fuck it.
Gotta kill him with kindness.
Kill him with kindness.
Yeah.
Kill him with kindness.
Yeah, that's what I go by these days.
Yeah, for
that's
sure.
the best way to kill him.
For sure. So let's get into this. So today's episode is different, right? Carla's doing readings on us, right? So we provided you with the questions already beforehand, and I'll let you go, nephew, first.
Okay, you want me to start with him?
Yeah.
All right. So like I said, I'm going to go ahead and I work through what we, call automatic writing, meaning that I will channel everything that comes up in regards to your questions. I'll see if your guides say, okay, we got to start with this one versus this one. Sometimes there's an order. Okay. Then once I get the answers, we'll go ahead and I'll read that out to you, what came in. And if we need to, we can always go in, ask some more detailed questions. Say you want me to expand on something. You want to ask a couple other things, right?
Okay.
And so I'm pretty excited to read you, DJ. Like
yes,
I said, when Mike sent those questions, I feel the energy immediately. And I was just like, I just saw so many guides around you, so much beautiful stuff. And I was just like, wow, what an honor to read this, like, amazing, young man, this energy. I mean, I'm not surprised. Everybody that Mike has introduced me to has been absolutely extraordinary. So,
I feel like I really love meeting people that are good at reading energy. You know what I mean? It makes the connection that much better.
Yes.
When they can already, they're like, oh, like,
yeah,
they automatically have positive energy when they know they're around other people with positive energy. You know what I mean? If you don't know you're around negative energy, then how can you get out of that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Awareness is the first thing, Okay, perfect. So let's see. I'll do it here through my lap. And what's interesting is that I'm going to be using, to double check my answers, this pendulum is actually my own personal one. This is the one I use for my own self when I'm clearing. And I never really use it for clients. I'm never really meant to ever, but this is the one that was meant to read with you. So that was an interesting thing to begin with.
Nice.
All right, so let's take a look if we're going to start. We got 4 questions here. Do we start with 1, 2? Okay, we start with number 3, so we'll put that there first. And then where are we going to go next? Let's start with number 3, because that's where we're going to begin. We're going to start with your question on the reason that you're able to communicate with your spirit guides, okay? So it might take me a couple minutes. Let's see how much we need to know. Okay, I got 7 things here that I need to know about it, all right? So
I would like to talk about spirit guides, because it looks like my first question is, why am I able to communicate with my spirit guides? And I feel like it's really important to know what a spirit guide is first. In my opinion, a spirit guide is, I was told that it's someone that was assigned to you before you were born to help you go through your spiritual journey, or just your journey as a human. It helps you make the right decisions. Like, do you talk to yourself, or like do you have any like connection to like your gut or your intuition, you would say?
Yeah, I'm very connected to my intuition, and I do talk to myself. The way I talk to myself is in just a motivating way. When I need it, I tell myself to get after it. Whatever I tell myself, quit being a bitch. Don't be a bitch. Don't be a pussy. I say that to myself. You know what I mean? In times of like potential weakness, I talk myself out of it. You know, I do. So I think that's important. Like with merch, right? I have shirts that say alpha as fuck, discipline,
That's dope.
don't be a pussy, things like that, right? And people would be like, well, why would you do that? I guess it's an affirmation, or it's telling myself, don't be a pussy. Be disciplined. Use your intellect over your emotions. And reminding myself that, yeah, you are alpha as fuck.
Yeah.
So be it. You feel me? So
I need that alpha as fuck shirt.
I got you.
I need that.
TheAlphaAcademy.com.
Size
Everybody
small.
I got you though.
Mike is the
This
best
is the new
for
merch
that.
right here though. Civil Mind.
It's dope. It's really nice.
You know, 777. That's the frequency of miracles. That's the frequency of God consciousness. 314 is pi. That's the equation of pi, which is it's an equation that's in many places throughout the universe. It's very important. People gonna understand something one day. Like, I've been sitting and thought a lot about God, God, right? And man, I've been getting I feel like some downloads, some understanding, you know. And there's a string theorist, he found error correcting code, computer code, binary in space.
There is a topic in theoretical physics that is about 40 years old. It's called supersymmetry. I wrote the first PhD thesis on the topic at MIT in 1977. I was the only person in the entire institution who thought this particular story was somehow very important. Because when I read these equations, I understood that they implied that there were more forms of matter and energy than anyone had ever taught me in a class. And I thought, you know, if there's a chance that that's actually true, that's going to be enormously important for the future. And so we, for the last decade or so, have been pulling back the cover on the first layer of equations, getting to this hidden layer. And what we have found there is rather quite remarkable. First of all, it turns out that they can be represented in terms of pictures. With these pictures, it turns out, we have begun a very, very fruitful conversation with mathematicians, because the pictures contain such a depth of information that I can actually put them in front of a mathematician's eye and say, what is this thing? And then they'll start to tell me what they see. And one of the strange discoveries that's come out of this process is that these pictures contain what are called error correcting codes.
What? You know, so what it tells us is that the framework of the universe is built on mathematics. It just is, which is crazy, because mathematics is something that our ancestors created.
Yeah.
So how is
But
it?
did they?
Right. So
You know what I mean? So if they didn't, I don't know, they created it. It's man-made, but it's everywhere. And pi is a consistent equation, just like Fibonacci sequence or the golden ratio. And I believe that understanding, coming into the consciousness of God, which is the consciousness of ourselves, is going to take time, right? A higher level of consciousness for us. But once we do tap into it, and it's understanding mathematics at a high level, at a scientific level, at a spiritual level, once we're tapped into that information and that understanding, and we can consciously shift to a fourth dimension of thinking, right? I don't know if it's going to be physical, but maybe it is. A two-dimensional being can't perceive a three-dimensional being. A three-dimensional being like us can completely manipulate the universe or the reality of a two-dimensional being, right? And for those out there like, what the fuck is that? There's insects that are two-dimensional. They don't climb, they don't crawl, they don't fly. They walk back and forth. They might live for a few hours, you know, they got short lifespans, but we don't exist to them.
Right.
You stand in front of them, the sliver in front of your foot is all that he can perceive, nothing else. A bird is not even a real thing to that guy, right? But we know birds are real. So imagine having consciousness in a fourth dimension, understanding everything in the third, and being able to control it and manipulate it, right? So we have time and space, right? They say that's the 3 dimensions, but I've been reading a lot about string theory, gauge theory, theoretical physics, and they're like, no, space, these are dimensions, space, time being a degree of freedom, right? Excuse me? So basically, time may not be linear like we think, like start now, end up over there in 30 seconds or whatever. No. If you think about what Isaac Newton's law of thermodynamics, energy can't be created nor destroyed, it's always here, right? It's in different forms. So my understanding leads me into the understanding, my brain leads me into the understanding of this. If everything's already been here, it always will be here. Everything that ever was and everything that ever will be is right now.
Yes.
It's all unraveled.
Yeah.
But we just can't perceive it because we're locked in 3 dimensions of reality.
Well, because we look at time as a linear scale.
Yeah, it's a habit. But
It's just like a tool.
they can sit here and draw and calculate 11 dimensions. 11. Y'all look this up. This is real. But we don't know how to get there, whatever it is, but it's here, it's in thought. So my theory is consciousness, and people's consciousness collectively is God. You feel me? Because consciousness or a personality, spirit, nobody can identify what that is. You know, we just say, oh, your brain, what is a consciousness?
Yeah.
You can't identify what a consciousness is. We can say, well, we say what consciousness is like being aware, right? But where is that in the body? Where is your spirit? Where is your mind? I'm not talking about a brain.
Yeah.
Where's your mind? Where's your personality? Why are you? Because me and you got all the same ingredients. So do you and I. We got the same ingredients of a dog and of a bird. All of the same stuff, different combinations of it. But we as humans, we're all vastly different, right?
Yeah.
And the thing that's different is the thing that we can't identify, a soul or a consciousness. You feel me? So falling into that understanding will take us to where God is, you know. And I don't believe God is a spook in the sky saying do this, do that.
Yeah.
You know, it might be a dude or a woman or something on a computer. You know what I'm saying? That might be more like God programming us and engineering us. But you can't deny the fact that we program ourselves every day.
Yeah.
We do.
Literally.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? The information that we consume is part of our programming, our coding. Going to the gym, part of our programming, our coding. What we put in our bodies, nutrition-wise, part of programming. Etc. So, you know, we program children till they get old enough to program themselves. A lot of people, unfortunately, still allow other people to program them, you know, the media, shit like that. So, yeah.
It's interesting. You asked, like, what is the conscious, right? But I feel like the thing that really makes me question and I'm interested in is the fact that we really operate from our like subconscious mostly, right? So things that we don't intentionally do or intentionally think.
Yes.
Our brain is like naturally like our brain is naturally operated, or like what's the word?
Yeah, it's on autopilot.
It's on autopilot. Yeah.
But we don't. It doesn't have to be like that. So we can. Y'all remember the movie The Secret, right?
Yeah, I love that. Love that
Okay,
movie.
so The Secret, they say manifestation. Some people say prayer. Whatever it is, it's planning something. So you have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind, right? So the subconscious mind is where like the most beautiful aspects and elements of a person lies. but also the darkest. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It doesn't differentiate truth from false. It don't deal with that. So, for instance, okay, and the conscious mind is like, all right, when I wake up, I need to brush my teeth. I need to wash my face. I need to, it's the more mechanical things that we think about doing, right? So we can consciously put things into our subconscious mind, right? So there are instances when a woman wants to be pregnant or lies about being pregnant so much, she's constantly putting that in her subconscious mind, and she will have prenatal symptoms. Even think about flow state, right? A person getting into flow, the ability to do things that it doesn't seem like they should be able to do
naturally.
Yeah, that's all. We can consciously do that. There's ways to do it, but you got to plant those seeds in your subconscious mind, because it don't care if it's true or not. It just try to make it happen. You know what I mean?
So you're saying like the state of flow usually comes from the subconscious mind, like someone doing something.
It has something to do with it. So here's the thing. So flow, you need to, the task that you're embarking in has to be difficult, challenging.
The challenge skills balance is often called the golden rule to flow. And the idea here is pretty simple. We pay the most attention to the task at hand when the challenge of that task slightly exceeds our skill set. So to do this work and to get good at it, you have to get good at being comfortable with being uncomfortable. So you want to stretch, but not snap.
That's how people rise to the occasion, right? Like in boxing, I could be way better than somebody. They could hit me a bunch of times. You know what I'm saying? I still win, but they get a lot of shots on me. I'm like, this can't rise to that occasion. But I be against somebody that's really formidable, really, really good. I'm on my A game. You know what I'm saying? And that's a chess match. You feel me? So flow, you have to be talented in something, whatever you're trying to do, of course, but it has to be difficult so you could rise to that. And there's ways, there's things that we could do, like with our breathing and stuff like that, to get us in that fight or flight. To, like, breathing is huge, it's big. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing it for years. Before I even knew what flow state was, I was consciously putting myself in flow state before difficult tasks, like with my breathing. You know what I mean? And even when I felt fear, that energy that we identify with as fear sometimes,
it's powerful.
It's just energy. So I would use that as fuel, like fire will make me mad. Like I'm gonna kill this mother. You know what I'm saying? So, because if you don't use it, it'll crush you. It makes you scared. It consumes you. It just
cripples you,
pulls you in, or you breathe that shit in and use it. You know what I'm saying? All of that is flow.
The state of flow, I feel like that's the best state to be in. Whether you're working or like playing a certain sport. Like I remember growing up as a skateboarder, when I would tap into that state of flow when I'm trying to overcome some sort of obstacle that I'm not used to, like ollieing a set of like 10 stairs or something. It's scary, but you have to tap into that flow of state before you get down that 10 stair on the skateboard. So I love that you.
Flow is not just physical. It could be like a debate. It could be a speech you're delivering in front of a bunch of people. Preachers get into it all the time. If you go to a Black Baptist church, they when they be giving a sermon, right? They start getting into it, and they get to a point where they say fuck it.
It takes courage to be different. It takes courage to go where you've never gone before. For some of you, it took courage to come to this conference. It takes courage to get you outside of the bar. It takes courage to be successful. It takes courage to win. People don't talk about people that don't win. If you win, they're going to talk about you. Do you have the courage to stand there though the storms keep raging and the people get to talking, and you stand there and say, I've come too far to turn around? Do you have the courage?
And they start literally singing, rapping a little bit, type of getting into a little cadence, and then the whoever's on the organ kind of fill them out. You know what I'm saying? On certain beats when he's spitting his, his sermon. And then it's just incredible to me. That was
vibes going on.
Bro, when I would go to church, I didn't like going to church, right? As a kid, But I love that part.
Yeah.
I'm like, they about to jam.
Like it's lit.
It's so lit.
It's lit.
So lit. That's it. It's like, how do you learn that?
Yeah.
That's flow. You know what I mean? He's like, I gotta. These people, think about the situation he's in. First of all, for a person to stand up in front of people and talk is scary. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who you are and how many people. It's a little bit like scary. So I have to stand in front of these people and give them the word of God from my perspective. All right, let's go. Right? That's a challenging thing to do. He's been doing this for years, studying, writing his sermons and all of that stuff. And then you looking at people, of course, they like staring at you like, what you got? At first, you know what I'm saying? I gotta win him over, I win her over. You know what I'm saying? They gotta dig deep into a certain level of belief, self-belief, obviously, because shit. But that self-belief takes them so far, and really, not just self-belief, but believing that they got some information that's really gonna help these people. You know what I mean? And then black people are hard to please, so you gotta start singing, rapping something, you know what I'm saying? And really like entertain, because you're looking at people like mean mugging you, and you flip them. You know what I mean? That's getting into a level of flow that's incredible. There's a lot of incredible. I have so much love for talented people. I just appreciate that shit so much, regardless of what kind of talent it is.
Are you ready?
Oh,
Let's
okay.
do
Here we
it.
go.
Okay, so let's take a look here. All right, so you were asking, right? You gave a nice little kind of introduction to
Yeah,
everybody about
yeah.
what spirit guides would be, right? So I'm going to jump right into your question. So there's 7 main things that came up here as to, the reason that you're able to communicate with your spirit guides, all right? So the first thing that comes in has to do with your ancestry, right? The first thing that I heard was that there's a very deep and like close connection to your ancestors, and that you've actually achieved really high levels of spiritual awakening over the course of like many and many, many past lives, right? We're talking like hundreds to thousands here, right? So this has been an ongoing thing for you for a long time. And what's interesting is what I'm seeing is that several of the guides that you actually have around you now, it's almost as if there's kind of like you guys will switch off, meaning that you've served as a guide or a teacher to them over like when they're incarnated, and you are in what we call lives between lives, right? Like in that state where you're not in a human physical body. And so those are many of your guides right now, right? So that's why when I see like, when I said I saw so many around you, but then in specific one, that always has their arm over your shoulder, that one in particular, you have a very close connection with, right? There's
Correct.
a lot of things that you two have done together. Sometimes you're in bodies at the same time, sometimes not. The second thing that came up has to do with your actual DNA, right? We as human beings, we're taught in science, everybody has 2 strands of DNA, and that determines all our genetic coding. But, if you actually dig deep and you look on the internet, you'll find that they've actually found that, that people have more than 2 strands of DNA. They're just not activated. And scientists, they label it as quote unquote junk DNA because they don't understand what it's there for, why, whatever.
The amount of DNA contained inside each cell is vast, and not all of the genetic sequences present within a DNA molecule actually code for a protein. Some of this non-coding DNA seems to be pointless and has been termed as junk DNA. The vast amount of seemingly non-functional DNA is simply a recording of the collective life experiences of our ancestral lines, their complete life experience and understanding. That is why human DNA has so much more of it than any other species. We learn and understand so much more. The lesser the life form, the less data they collect. In short, it's genetic memory storage.
But what the spiritual DNA is that actually has to do with our ability to connect to all of that information kind of around us, that God source consciousness, spirit, whatever people refer to it as, right? So basically, the more strands of this spiritual DNA that we have activated, the more we're able to access all of these intuitive gifts, all these different things. There's some people that come into human physical bodies, and from the moment that they are born, because of how much spiritual ascension they've achieved in previous lifetimes, rather than coming in with 2 activated, they might come in with 4, 8, 10, 12. Some people even carry up to 24 to 48, depending. And you're something that is referred to as, and I'll give you a link to understand and research it more, what they refer to as a rainbow child, meaning that they're, if you've heard of the term indigo children, star seeds, rainbow children, crystal children.
A starseed has a profound feeling of being very different from other people. Everyone is unique and different from others in some way or another. But for a starseed, this feeling begins at a very early age and stays with them well into adulthood. There may be no external cause of this feeling, and most have relatively normal childhood and adult lives, although they will tend to have some very unusual experiences.
These are all various types of souls that actually have ascended pretty high in past lives that are coming into bodies to help with kind of some of the issues that we're dealing by. They carry such a strong and powerful vibration that just that one single person carries like the vibration of thousands of people, meaning that their level of ascension, their vibration rate can actually affect masses, right? Wow. You're a rainbow child, so you fall into that category. So you come in as a rainbow child, meaning you came in with several strands of DNA already activated on those higher spiritual levels. So what does that mean? Well, A means obviously air, like we said, high levels of spiritual knowledge attained in multiple lifetimes and timelines, and also to what you contracted, your soul, right? What you came here into this lifetime to do, which we'll get into your other questions. And the last thing that they're saying here is that, you know, your soul chose a very specific soul mission for yourself, and one that also actually deals with the healing and releasing of what we call miasms, or trauma that's stored within the genetic DNA that our ancestors went through. So in order for you to be able to try to fulfill this mission that your soul's chosen to come into, you needed to have a strong guidance team and a very strong, you know, kind of like a connection to that innately already coming into this body, right? And so your team is very different than a lot of people's spirits guides may be. You have really highly ascended family members and masters that are here to assist you with that mission fulfillment and to guide you kind of along the way of all of that, right?
Wow, that's really powerful. That's really crazy.
Because even before you sat in front of me, just from Mike sending me the text, I saw it and I was just like, okay, this is interesting. A lot of it reminded me kind of what my team was like back when I was in the earlier stage of spiritual awakening. Now I'm more guided by what they refer to as like, you know, higher like collective consciousness of those that have achieved certain levels of, right, spiritual attunement, attainment, etc. But you know, those that are with you right now, they will switch out some of them when the time comes.
Some of their roles might become more important as I go through life, you're saying? Or
2 of them are going to stay, like the one that I see that's over your right shoulder that has the hand on your right shoulder all the time is going to stay. That's one that's not going in anywhere. That one is a male, and then there's a female that also stays, right? And what's interesting, though, you know, people associate men with warriors. She's actually a female who has a very strong warrior energy in past lives, right? So, yeah.
I'm going to tell you why that's interesting, because he was telling me, we were talking about, like, relationships, and he's attracted to dominant women.
Man-eater. That's what they used to call me when I was just a little girl.
Yeah.
And he likes that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Which isn't really common in natural men's preference, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I am, though. You know, I never knew. Maybe it was because maybe my mom's a little dominant, or I grew up around dominant women, or it could be a lot of reasons, but I don't know. I feel like it's attractive, like seeing a dominant woman. You know what I mean?
It also resonates with your soul, though, on those deeper levels.
Do you like when they whoop you?
Talking about all that.
They beat their heels in you. Shut up. Put a cigarette on your chest, like a little bit. A little bit. It's all good.
Nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm excited to dive into the other ones. I'll let you guys, you know, talk for a little kind of as we go into it. But like I said, I will provide you some links to research and to understand this, because understanding kind of what a rainbow child is will be a lot will resonate with you when you read it. Like your characteristics, things about you as a child, like, yeah, I would see the world that way, or like, yeah, like I always was different than other people. It will help you to kind of reawaken that?
Yeah, it is. It's all making sense. You know, it's all coming together because I feel like growing up, I was always like a different child. Always thought a little differently.
Yeah.
And kind of set me apart a little bit. But I always felt like my soul mission, I like you say soul mission instead of life purpose. I feel like that makes a little bit more sense. Always felt like my soul mission was bigger than what I know.
Yeah.
You know, or like just being a firefighter, or I want to be a doctor. Like, you know, when they ask you in school, what do you want to be? It was more complicated for me to, you know what I mean? Rather than something so, not service level, but, you know, like simple or, so it's.
But you gotta think about simple firefighter. You said what else? Firefighter, doctor.
Or doctor or something, you know,
Those are
common
not-
answers.
they're not
Not
simple,
simple.
though.
Not simple.
Or
jobs.
simple to define, I think he means, maybe.
Yeah, but I don't think people's jobs gotta define them. You know what I mean? I think people just, that's just what they do. They go to, oh, I'm a this. That doesn't, it's just one attribute of what you do to make ends meet.
Yeah.
You know, unless, you know, I really want to work in, you know, whatever, pediatrics. I really want to save children. Like that might be who that person is, you know? But I think all jobs are very, like what people choose to do, whatever level can be very profound. You know, when I had my gym in Miami, I would tell my staff, like, look, the gym is a sanctuary, a second home for a lot of people like me. So
me as well.
It is very easy for you, I'm telling my staff, for you to be the reason that somebody had a good day today. It's about a compliment, or saying something nice or whatever, but letting it be genuine. So when I would come into the gym, they would see me just going interacting with people, you know what I'm saying, and in that way, and they would do the same thing. And that's like heavy. Like, you could be the reason why that person want to keep coming to the gym every day, because this person made me feel good. You know what I'm saying? This person is always nice. You know, so just leaving that effect on somebody is ain't nothing simple about that. That's dope. You know what I mean? So when people talk about spiritual, this is what I mean about spiritual. Like, everything that you do being of benevolence, you know? When you're making money, like trying to have an occupation, like, forget the money. Think about the service that you're providing, or product you're providing, or what value you're providing. That should be where the energy's put in. Then that makes it spiritual, you know? With Ambrosia Collective, our company, we've blown up like crazy, and didn't even intend for this to be that big of a company, especially the amount of time. But when we started it, we were like, man, fuck the money. Like, let's just make the dopest. Let's max out on the science. You know, let's make the absolute best nootropic, because the first product was Mental Jewels, a nootropic. Let's make the best nootropic on the market, like something like Limitless, the movie Limitless.
Yeah, I just seen that recently.
Let's do that, you know. And we was on brainstorming and going through ingredients, and you know, there's ingredients, then there's a high level of ingredients. It costs a lot more money, but we was going to those manufacturers and these scientists and making, you know, working out exclusive deals, you know what I mean, to like bring some high power to the market, because I want to give somebody something that's going to really work. Like a person that might be, this is no medical claim, but we got so many people that was like taking Adderall who didn't need it, but taking so much they need it, switched out for Mental Jewels. I'm gonna let y'all in on a little secret on what I'm sipping on. It's called Mental Jewels. See that? What is Mental Jewels, you might ask? It's a nootropic, or a smart drug. It's all natural with clinically proven ingredients that aid in improving memory, improving focus, boosting mental clarity, elevating your mood, and managing stress. There's a few big selling nootropics on the market, and I can objectively say that Mental Jewels is the best. We took what was out there and we made sure that ours had better ingredients, better formulation, and we got third-party testing done so that y'all can all have confidence in what you get from us meets the label claims. Listen, I always give reference to King Solomon. When all the other kings asked God for money, military power, women, He didn't. He asked for wisdom. And with him getting what he asked for, he was able to be the wealthiest and most powerful and had an abundance of women. When you can think clear, sharp, and creatively, you have an advantage. When you can stay focused on a project and see it through, you have an advantage. Most people have the attention span of a fruit fly. We live in an information age where short clips, bright lights, quick edits reign supreme and have molded people's brain in a way that retention, processing information, it's become an antiquated skill set. I don't know about you, but my brain is my best asset. So I do everything I can to keep it right, powerful, and healthy. And it's not, of course, it's not as powerful as a medicine, but it's a nice way to make a transition and still get that.
And no side effects that like something like an Adderall will give you though.
Zero.
That's probably what's more powerful.
Yeah, there's a side effect. It tastes good. You know what I'm saying? It tastes bomb. You feel me? So that's
a
about
side
it.
note, not a side effect.
Mental Jewels is like my favorite thing. You know what I mean? Because one thing about the human body is, or us being people, is we're gonna die, I guess. But the body experiences entropy and it breaks down and it will turn on us. But the brain doesn't have to.
Right.
You know, so as long as we keep at it, like keep reading, keep engaging in intellectual conversations, doing things that stimulate the mind, even like the foods that we eat, getting rest, and things like effective nootropics, you know, helping to create more gray matter, you know, things like that. And plus people that do things like take nootropics, they're also reading, you know what I'm saying? They're doing things in alignment with advancing their brain, enhancing their brains. You know what I'm saying? So just like they did this, there was this, y'all ever heard of Baby Einstein?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like, for those who don't know, it's like DVDs. I don't know what it is now, but when I was younger, when I first had my kids, it was DVDs. And it was like this classical music. And the theory was you play this around your kids and let them watch it, they get smarter. And then the data was like, nah, that's not true. However, a parent that takes the time to buy Baby Einstein for their kids is probably doing other things to help their kid get smart. So yeah, it does work.
So it puts you on track
puts you on track and keeps you on track. So, you know,
that's the importance.
It's important. So every action matters. You know what I'm saying? And listen, I'm explaining it now. I'm giving like a 13-hour explanation on Mental Jewels, on the spirituality behind it, but I care about it so much. I could talk about it for days, why it's so good for you, right? Mentally and physically, that I can give you so much information. That's the spiritual connection to it, not like some magical thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like you putting your all into what you do, you know, and your intentions being good. Not the money. Money should never be where the energy's at, like the end result. No. That's a byproduct. And that's the universe rewarding you for putting out as much as you can, good energy out. You know what I'm saying? It's going to give you good energy back. And that bag is good energy, baby. That's good energy right there.
It definitely is. I remember about 6 months ago, I wrote down all of these things, filled up the journal, and then I just tuck it away. Because I know it's done. I don't need to read that every day and go, oh, what I trying to create and manifest, right? I just go, it's written, it's done, it's been sent out there. Now bring it in whatever way the highest form is. Long story short, you fast forward now, it's about 5 months from that point, and I manifested something that was so outrageous that nobody would believe it. And now I had a meeting about a week and a half ago, right? And it was something aligned exactly with that. And instead of me trying to have to sell my idea and this dream that I have, they were pitching me, right? But the exact title for this production, everything that I'm thinking about, is exactly the title I wrote in my manifestation journal 6 months ago.
Wow.
The words that were coming out of these men's mouth at this meeting that were speaking to me, it was as if somebody was reading my manifestation journal word for word. The way I wanted creative control, the way I wanted it set up, how I wanted the production to look, how I wanted my team to look. Everything they were proposing to me, I had written out in exact detail 6 months before, right? That is like for you, that's what I'm saying, going into that automatic space, right? Making that just when you start to, it's a flow state, but from an intuitive sense, right? Once you are able to achieve that, your relationship with them will be kind of one in that it might be as simple as, hey, don't go to this grocery store, go there because there's somebody there that you just feel you need to meet, and all of a sudden this person opens up some crazy door for you. That, right?
Yeah.
That is the way that it will work, and that is the way it can be and become for you, especially with the kind of team you have.
Yeah, that's very powerful. I communicate how I communicate, which is usually like through signs. That's how I get answers. Or I feel like my spirit guide sometimes gives me an answer on the spot. So say if I'm driving and I'm talking to them, it's usually one specific person, it's a woman. She'll talk to me through me, right?
Yes, it sounds like a voice kind of.
Yeah, it wouldn't even be me talking. It's nothing, like I asked a question for a reason because I feel like I didn't know the answer, but I got the answer right there on the spot. Doesn't always happen like that, but sometimes that's how it happens. But one thing that I also felt helped me communicate with them clearly is through meditation. I've been meditating every single day for the last 2 to 3 weeks, and I feel like it's helped me really understand how they communicate a lot more clear, you know? So I guess meditation too, right?
Yeah, and then I'm hearing for you, the female one, she said specifically, and I'll work with you on this, to teach you automatic writing in the communication with them, meaning that you can be in a meditation state, but you're typing or you're writing, and you're not breaking that meditative state, right? Your brain is checked out. Your brain is not it. It's like you'll look at the screen kind of like me, I type, and then I open my eyes or I can see and go, okay, what's there, right? I'm not thinking. It's not coming through my brain, right? And for you, that would be also an effective way to do things. All right, we'll go into, I'll let you guys chat while I kind of look into the next two for you, and then we'll have Mike.
Let's break it up. Let's go into mine.
You want to go into yours next? Okay.
You got
a lot to unpack, right?
Yeah.
I got to switch pendulums. I believe this is one for you. Well, okay, so Mike, this one has like 12 pieces to it, so it's going to take me to get it all, a second to get it all down.
Really? Dang.
Yeah, so it's one question, but it's got like 12 parts, I already heard. So, well, let me start to work on this piece right here for Mike. Okay, let's take a look here. So, Mike, if you get any other questions, we're able to look into that as well, okay?
Meditation is it's my thing. That's something that I do very consistently. Meditation is as important to me as going to the gym. So I do it every day as well. Usually before the gym, but sometimes I do it after my workout in the sauna sometimes. But I prefer to not do it in the sauna. It's easy to do it in the sauna, so I'd rather not do it where it's easy to do it.
Okay.
And it's hard to do it at home.
Really? It's harder than the sauna?
Morning. Yeah, because it's not about the physical act of doing it. It's about not being on my phone or not getting ready for this or doing that, doing things that I need to do. So to like, you know what, it's a form of discipline to put everything away and sit in silence and meditate. So when you was talking about that helping you communicate, I could see that, because that's something that it helps me make decisions better. Better decisions. It helps me not react emotionally, you know. Each day, the newer I become, you know, it's so much easier to not react, you know. And it used to be very hard. It used to be impossible not to react. But when you're a reactionary person, you're easy to control.
Right.
You know? Think about it. People are controlled every day by being fed something through, like, say, the news or whatever, and it's striking a chord and people react. You know what I mean? They do it every day. And like, people, calm down.
Yeah.
Like, take some time and think about things, right? When you're receiving information that looks negative, that you relate to, and it hurts your feelings, think about why they're doing that right now. And when I say doing that, think about why they're releasing this information right now.
Yeah.
Why are they doing that? You know what I'm saying? Why are they turning on that faucet? So, and don't allow yourself to, you know, just do your own research, do your own due diligence. and you control your energy, your action, all of that stuff.
It's powerful.
Your decisions.
I feel like it's powerful you said that about the news, because like basically you're saying the news basically spikes your emotions for you to like think less about what's going on, right?
Correct.
Yeah. That's
yeah,
crazy.
it's no thinking.
Yeah.
It's all reaction.
All reaction.
It's all reaction. So many things that people do is all, this is how we want y'all. A big chunk of society always act the same.
Because when
they press certain buttons.
When you really think, that's when you're like, this is so stupid.
When you think things don't make sense and you don't do the common thing to do, you don't participate in the status quo. You know, that's what they don't want.
Yeah.
But that's what people should be very aware of, and not reactionary.
Yeah.
You're weak. Like if somebody, I know how to throw them off. I know how to make them have a bad day, or I know how to make them go smoke a cigarette or do whatever they would typically do to de-stress, you know what I'm saying, to cope, to self-medicate. I know how to get them there.
Yeah.
You know, that's wicked that people, there's intelligent people that know how to control people like that. They're intelligent, but they're nefarious. You know, it's disgusting type of behavior. So, you know, there's intelligent people that are aware of that but don't participate in that either. Mm-hmm. But most people don't see those things. They can't pick up on it, you know? They just reaction, just like an animal. Just react. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, like my dog, every morning, I feed him. When I give him his command, every time he runs for his food. Mm-hmm. It's like, my guy, we got 9 years of this. There's no other animals that's gonna take your food.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. But he's gunning.
He got it.
He's out of there.
That's the difference between a human and an animal, right?
Right.
And humans react like animals because that's our initial nature. We're animals. Like, it is what it is. The gross, disgusting animals. And a lot of people act like it instead of acting like a human, an evolved person who has discernment and who has patience and can, you know, reserve their movements and their actions, you know. But
gotta break out the
you
matrix.
press a button, they move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
That's unfortunate, but that's how it is. But meditation helps. To me, it helps not to participate in that kind of behavior.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Canada Dry Baby diet.
I feel like every time I meditate, I realize something new about how powerful it is.
What's
like,
that, meditation?
Why haven't I been doing this all my life? Yeah, meditation.
Well, don't do that. Just, you're doing it. Just
No, facts. But I'm super grateful that I've been doing it.
You can't change that.
Yeah, that's true.
Know, it's a waste of thought energy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Just moving forward, just stay on it. And every day you do it, you locked in more and more.
Yeah.
Yep. But I guarantee, mark my words, you know, working out used to not be as important as it is now, as mainstream. Meditation is like that now, but it will be. When people when the conscious collective start really rising and understanding how, because there's a lot of very practical information, scientific data on how important and how beneficial meditation is for the human body.
During meditation, brain scans see increased activity in regions directly correlated with decreased anxiety and depression, along with increased pain tolerance. The default mode network in particular is activated when one's mind is at rest and not focusing on the outside world, and has been found to improve memory, self-awareness, and goal setting. It also literally changes your brain waves, and we can measure these frequencies. Meditators have higher levels of alpha waves, which have been shown to reduce feelings of negative mood, tension, sadness, and anger.
I talk about it in some of my modules for my mentorship program. But when people start getting aware of this information, they be like, yo, I gotta meditate today. I gotta meditate. You know what I'm saying? Just like people know the importance of working out. Think about this. When you come into contact with someone that is disciplined with their nutrition, they eat properly, they train, you can see that this is a disciplined person. They look good. Look at their body. Look at their physique, whatever, right? Their skin's clear, all of these things, right? You can identify a person that works out and take care of themselves. When you sit and speak with people that meditate, that engage in practices of the mind, it's very obvious that person is not some normal dumb, simple-minded person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, the more people encounter people who do meditate and speak on it, and they'll it's different from like a lot of these Ponzi schemes where like, what was the one? It's a supplement company, Herbalife. People would try to sell me on Herbalife back in the day, and they're always trying to sell you on how much money you can make. And I'm like, yo, but when do you make the money? You know what I'm saying? They tell you about somebody else making the money. They're never a good representation of it. Meditation, the people that sell you or market meditation to you, they're a good representation of it.
You can see it in them.
Because they have a fluidity in thought and creativity. You know, it's just a very positive conversation you're going to have with these people, or an enlightening conversation that you're going to have with this enlightened or evolved person. So, you know, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you say, so you meditate in the sauna, right? Usually you would just, like how long do you do it for? Like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or?
It depends on how long I'm in the sauna. So when I'm in the sauna, I don't time how long I meditate.
Right.
I set a timer before I go in the sauna just to make sure I hit the amount of time that I need to be in the sauna.
Yeah.
Right.
I've never meditated in sauna. So.
Yeah, but sometimes if it's slow, like there's nobody, I'm not talking to anybody, and especially if I hadn't meditated before I came to the gym, I'll meditate in there. And sometimes there's a couple times that I'll meditate while there's people in there as well. I'll be like, they keep talking, I just be quiet and I'll close my eyes so they get it, like I'm just not talking. And
you can still tap into that meditative state?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Really? Around people? I feel like I have difficulty. I won't say I can't,
so I did research on meditation, and in India, where they really start mastering it, you know, they would do it like in silence, like in quiet, right? That's the easiest place to do it. It's still hard because silence in the mind is very difficult. However, that's the easiest way to do it, alone, isolated. So as they mastered that, they would start doing it in busy places. They would start doing it. It kept getting increasingly more difficult. That's how yoga came about. Yoga is meditation.
Right.
But it happens to benefit the body in great ways. So we use it now as exercise. But it's a form of meditation. They would put themselves, contort their bodies in these uncomfortable positions and go there. Close their eyes and go there. So nothing, you could probably hit them with a spitball, nothing's gonna rattle them.
So it's basically like another challenge.
Yeah, and for one to be able to meditate in such extreme conditions, that person is a master.
Yeah.
You feel me?
So that's something I haven't challenged myself to, meditating in different environment.
Yeah.
Other than outside and like in my room.
Yeah.
Like in silence.
I'll even do it because it's a very practical exercise for me. So, and it does something very direct that I need, especially if my emotions are high.
Yeah.
So there's been times I got something piss me off, I'll walk somewhere else and I'm like, I'll be right back, y'all. And I go sit somewhere, and usually I have my sunglasses on so nobody can tell I'm sitting there meditating. You know what I'm saying? But I'll go separate myself.
That's good.
5-minute timer, 7-minute timer, and just go. You know?
All right, Mike. So for here, you know, we have your question, and what you asked was that you were saying that you have something that you feel in your heart that you want to communicate to someone, and that you don't, know how to communicate it, and what you want to communicate, you're saying will be good for you and that person that you want to communicate it to,
Yes.
right?
I believe it will be.
Okay, you believe it will be. Well, and that's always what's important is your intent, and I can feel that you're coming from a heart, space. So it's a long kind of answer here. Some of it's a little repetitive, but it's like almost like, your guides are trying to speak to you on this, right? So the first thing that I hear is that, this person just loves and values you very much, right? Even more so than you may be able to comprehend or to know, okay? And there's something here, they're saying that the tricky thing with this situation is there's something about the two of you that, like, I see you two as being very contrasting, but also very similar, like a dichotomy, so to speak, right? Like, there's a lot of similarities, so whether that's like how it'll be received in communication, whatever else, right? Or whatever the situation or what the thing is that you want to communicate to them. What your guys are also saying here is that what you need to know here is that you already know what you feel and how to say it, but there's either a part of you that's like complicating it or overthinking the situation, okay? And it doesn't need to be that way, like, because no matter what you express to this person, regardless of whether or not the outcome is what you think you want it to be, it's not going to change like the dynamic in a sense in any way negatively, right? It's not going to change how this person feels about you, how much they love and respect you, and how much they want you in their lives. Like, don't worry about any of that if that's a concern. That was saying just to communicate it and to just be upfront and real. Just be vulnerable, be you, and allow them to hear you and to feel the energy of the words that you speak, right? Because that's what is going to also be accompanying the words that come out of your mouth. Because there's nothing that you can say here in this situation that is wrong as long as you speak your truth, right? You know what you need to say, so just say it. Like, don't hold it back. If you speak your truth, it'll be well received no matter what that outcome is, right? The person's going to love and respect you more if you are real, because that's what they actually value so much about you and love and respect the most about you, right? So even when it may come to matters that, say, the two of you might not always see eye to eye on, it doesn't matter, right? I just see as somebody who's like willing to hear, okay, maybe I don't fully agree with that, but I'm open to whatever your viewpoint is. And that's going to be the same in this situation, right? Allow them to also, once you communicate what you need to, and it's kind of being suggested like, hey, let me speak first and say everything I need to, and then you allow them to do the same in response, right? Just know that, like, if they know that they can also be heard, it's going to be a constructive conversation. No matter what happens or does not happen as a result of what you want to share, both parties I see being very happy and good in the long run, and it's going to be the highest possible outcome. Okay, I'm hearing that, like, you never hold back anything in life. So, like, figure out, why would you now, right? Like, what's different in this situation to you? If you can overcome that barrier, it'll all just flow out naturally, because there's nothing to worry about here is the key thing. There is something that comes up on the other person's end. It's like like a barrier, so to speak, not to do with you though, but like involving another person in their life, whether, I don't know if it's an influence relationship, whatever it may be, right? But like, I'm not sure. It's like, in a sense, a barrier, right? They're not showing me too much what that means beyond that. But like, you just kind of need to know that no matter what's happening in their lives, they would never want you out of theirs, right? And whatever you have to share is not going to change that. Like, and likely whoever or whatever the barrier is not going to like affect whatever the two of you need to experience together, go through together, grow through together. And like, I see that the barrier may be temporary anyways, right? Or whatever it is, like whether it's somebody they work with or involved with, whatever the relationship is there. And so that should not stop you from communicating what you need to, because whatever you've not said, once you say it, it's just it's like kind of one of those things where I see like energy lifting off of you, or like some kind of weight, you know what I mean? And not that it's a heavy bad one now, but just you'll feel better, right? And last thing you need to know is that timing is going to unfold like as it's meant to, in the highest order for both people's highest possible outcome. You just need to show up, speak your truth, and then hear them and their response with compassion. Okay.
All right. Mm-hmm. Do you see anything about how it would be received?
How it would be received. Okay, let's see. I'm not going to write that one down. Let me take a look here. I hear like positively, but also contemplatively. Like I see the person thinking, like, you know, like not like knowing right away the answer, so to speak. Like having to, you know, look, okay, well, what does it look like if, you know, I do whatever is being suggested, or this path, what does that look like? And having to think about it, right? So it's one of those things where you might not get, say, an answer immediately right then, that like if you want right then, they might say, well, I need to think about this, I need to have some time to kind of process it, right? It's not in a bad way, it's just that, you know, like there's something that they need to think about there too. Let's see, is there anything else we can know? What's interesting is I hear well received, but like the outcome would be something that has to do with both people's free will, meaning you and that other party, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not just about their free will, it's not just about yours, it's about the two, right? The synergy of the two, okay? I see further discussion after it. So it's not like a one time, okay, let me get this out type of thing. Like there's a few different like talks about it, like maybe revisiting whatever the topic is, you know, as each person has had time to process and think. But none of them are like I don't see arguing. I don't see like disagreement. I don't see anything negative around those other interactions as well. It's more so like the word exploration comes up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That's good.
Yeah. And then I hear the word like terms, like, you know, so like whether this person gets analytical or whatever, like there's terms to agreement that would have to be agreed upon, right? That comes up as well. But nothing, it's like, okay, like, you know, there's negotiations in anything in life, right? It's like sometimes people, it's positive, sometimes negative, but everything is very positive there. There's a very deep level of respect between you and this other person that runs both ways at the end of the day, right?
Cool. All right. That was dope. So I think this might be the first podcast where people got psychic readings live.
Right.
You know
we
set a record.
Yeah, we set a record.
That's dope. But now I'll say this. So, you know, when we first met and, you know, you did Reiki on me, tuned my chakras a few times. Like, I've been feeling like I need that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you notice, I don't know if you notice or not, but I don't go too long without us communicating. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I stay tapped into you. So I can see how, your clients are super tapped into you. I get it. Because when you're exposed to a certain level of information or insight, you don't want to like, you can't ignore it. You want to keep going back to that source. So that's dope. So you're a dope resource for that. And you help people, and that's incredible. I don't think people really understand. It's funny because when someone thinks of a psychic, they probably think of like Miss Cleo or something not serious, you know. And what you do is very serious and is very important and it's good. You know what I'm saying? You help a lot of people, and I appreciate you for that. And I would love for more people to tap into you to get help. You know what I'm saying? Because it's dope. It's perfect. Like, how you feel?
I felt amazing. I mean, that was, and the fact that we did this like here, that was very powerful. And thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I know we didn't get to your last two, so what I'm going to do is we'll set up a Zoom time to hop on Zoom, and then that way I'll provide you an audio recording and your notes and everything of all of this stuff so that you have that, because that's what I give to everybody.
People watching this and they want to tap in with you and get readings. You could do it via Zoom, right?
Yeah,
you do all of them.
Yeah, because a lot of my clients aren't even in this country.
Right.
So I work weird times. That's why sometimes I'll be like, oh, it's midnight and I'm working because I got somebody in Australia, somebody in the UK, Asia.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
So it's all via Zoom.
So it don't matter where you're at.
It doesn't matter.
She got you. So that's dope. You live a life of service, and I rocks with that.
Yeah, actually, a lot of people from the last podcast, not a single, like very few were from California, you know? Yeah, and a lot of them came first for readings and then have been returning for energy work, you know, because that can also be done. Like we said, like, right, that energy is all around us, right? Like there's no disconnection between you or me or anybody and, you know, God, spirit, source, consciousness, whatever that is. Like we're all connected to that, and that's what's healing you is your connection to that. I'm just kind of the facilitator, you know, the person that's doing the communication for you till you can learn to do it for yourself directly is what I tell people.
And I'll say this, I feel like what you do and like being spiritually connected is so important, because it really helps you go through your journey, you know, of life more, at least more peacefully.
Yes.
You know, knowing that everything's okay, everything's happening for a reason, everything's happening for me and not to me.
Yes.
You know, understand stuff like that, but also just kind of, it's like almost like a game. You know what I mean? Just understand it's not like coincidences or no, nothing like that. It's all meaning to this stuff, you know. So
cool. Well, I appreciate both of you. I'm a new co-host. How did he do today?
He did amazing. I loved it. I'm just so happy to have his energy.
Thank you for having me.
So today is training day.
Yeah.
Like the movie Denzel and Ethan Hawke. So we went to lunch, did a dash and dine. Like let's go. Yeah.
That's wild, right?
But nah, we didn't really do that.
Call it a bad influence, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Nah.
Mike's a great one.
Teaching you how to be formidable in this world.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm just messing with you.
Dine dashes and stuff, you know.
But nah, no, we don't do that.
Yeah.
We got a bag over here. Anyway, I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
We out of here.